Intro. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Just think they waited for 50 years to win their next Super Bowl. Wow, the city must be on fire with happiness. I must admit, I'm not a football fan. As a matter of fact, I've only seen one game all the way through. This was the playoff finals. I watched the Super Bowl final differently than the average fan. You could say I have a different mindset. You see, I've been meditating for around 49 years. It is my passion and hobby. When I watch the game, I can see the incredible aspects of the game. This is a highly evolved chess game. It's like in the Harry Potter movies. The monsters are alive, the chess pieces. I started to watch the game with earnest. During the playoffs, I saw the Chiefs come behind by 20 points, and they won the game. They were playing the Tennessee Titans for the AFC Championships game. During this game, I saw that the team who was in tune with the quantum field had a total advantage. So you're probably saying, yeah, you're crazy, but please listen. I'm sure that all teams know they have good days on the field and off days. Even during a football game, the mindset constantly changes. As I watch the AFC game, I can see whether either team was in sync or not. Call it what it is, but intuition is the key. Without intuition, you could never win the game. At some point in time, the KC Chiefs were in the zone. They could do no wrong. This is a mindset. Every team yearns for this. Every fan yearns to see this. It's quite complicated and sophisticated. Tim Galloway was at the forefront back in the early 70s. He wrote the book, The Inner Game of Tennis. He's still at the forefront of this amazing mindset. Many coaches are using his system today. Tennis is both a mental sport and a physical sport. Your mental state of mind will determine the outcome of the game. This is the same in all aspects of life and sports. With football, it has a much bigger impact. Imagine you have multiple high-speed trains going directly at you, and you have to throw them all or run for dear life. You must be calm and serene, and yet you have a few seconds to respond. The average person would have a panic attack. We couldn't survive the collision of 3 tacklers hitting us at once. This is far more difficult than a bullfighter. With a bullfighter, at least there's just one bull. But in football, there's a gang ready to pull you down. Yesterday's game went back and forth. There were times that both sides were in total control. To be honest, Patrick Mahomes had a hard time getting into the zone during the first 3 quarters. There was a point during the 4th quarter that the Chiefs were behind 10 points. I didn't see the sparkle in Mahomes' eyes. I wasn't feeling well, so I went to bed. 10 minutes later, my wife screamed and woke me up. I couldn't believe my eyes. The entire team was on fire. I could do no wrong. The San Francisco team couldn't believe what was going on. They ruled the entire game up into this moment. Games are won and lost in a matter of seconds. This book is my perspective on what I saw and helpful hints for the future. It may sound crazy, but the quantum field is known and unknown to us. Mostly, we perceive it on an unconscious level. The teams of the future will tap into it consciously. The teams that do this will have an incredible advantage. We are just skimming the surface. We think the game is merely physical, yet there's a universe behind it. Infinite possibilities exist. I hope that you enjoy this book. It's quite different, yet Tim talked about this 48 years ago. We are still at the beginning stages of embracing this knowledge. Fans. You couldn't have a professional football team without the fans. They are part of the package. When a team wins the Super Bowl, they always thank their fans. They knew without their support, they would never have been there. True fans support their teams throughout the ups and downs of the seasons and years. The Kansas City Chiefs haven't been to a Super Bowl in 50 years, yet the fans always supported them. Now, that is loyalty, and the teams are conscious of that. There is in the collective unconscious merging of the team and fans. Both have the same goal. When the crowd roars or does a chant, the team can tap into this and give them greater inspiration. Even when they are down 20 points, this is what you may call alchemy. It's not magic, but the capability to tap into the unconscious field that has infinite possibilities. I find it ironic when San Francisco had a picture taken in the end zone showing off. They thought they were in complete control of the game. The Chiefs got into the zone, and within 6 minutes, the game was over. Someday science and teams begin to see the correlation between a team and the fans. Each fan brings a different kind of support and superstitions. If I wear this shirt or eat this food, my team will win. Multiply this by millions and you have a powerful force. If fans had the same determination for world peace, we could achieve it. I love the fact that NFL teams give back to their communities. Here you have the most violent game, yet the players help their fellow man in need. Now that's compassion. That shows they have a heart. Tomorrow is a celebration for the Chiefs in Kansas City. Thousands will be there during a snowstorm, yet everyone will have a warm heart. The entire city is proud of its team and all that they've been through in the last 50 years. Archetype symbols. Imagine a sea of fans wearing red shirts in Arrowhead Stadium. As I said many times before, the signposts of God are all around us. Archetype symbols have been used for thousands of years. These symbols represent the collective unconsciousness of man. They are meant to wake us up. Just think the fans of the Chiefs had to wait 50 years for their team to go to the Super Bowl. That's a long time. That's half a century. Yet the fans had a vision along with the team to go to the Super Bowl and win. Imagine over time, the team's logo is an archetype symbol that evolves over time. Millions of fans identify with that symbol. People's hopes and prayers are contained in this conscious field of energy. It's like a seed was planted 50 years ago. How much turmoil and struggle did the team go through? They were ever so close a few times. Today is the day for the fans and the players to celebrate. It's supposed to snow all day, yet that won't dampen this celebration. By tapping into an archetype symbol, infinite possibilities can occur. It seems like this year, the Chiefs were in total alignment. Time and time again, when the opposite teams were ahead by huge margins, they came back to win the game. To be honest, this is quite sophisticated. It's similar to the butterfly theory. This theory is a flap of a butterfly at just the right moment over time can cause a hurricane in China. So 50 years ago, the fans and the teams dreamed of winning the Super Bowl again. Year by year, this vision grew. It was an revolution. Each year, lessons were learned. Players came, players went. Coaches came, coaches went. Yet the vision was always there. People may think that what I'm saying is crazy. Thoughts and visions are energy. Mankind has known about the collective unconscious for thousands of years in the East. Carl Jung devoted his entire life to this. This is many years ago. Today, most of humanity is still oblivious. We're still living in the Newtonian age. The age of the quantum started a century ago with dear old Albert Einstein. It takes a while for knowledge and wisdom from the past to be incorporated into present-day society. Someday, societies at large will be able to consciously connect to this state of awareness. I'm sure the team knew when they connected to the now that they knew was invincible. Every player played their part. Everything was in sync. Words can't describe that, but I'm sure the team knew when they were in the zone and when they struggled for dear old life. Quantum field. Every single moment, we are entangled into the quantum field. This is where we came from. You were never created, nor will you ever die. We get glimpses of it every day. Yet most of the time, we don't know it. It's who we truly are, yet we aren't conscious of it. When the Chiefs are so far behind, and you only have 6 minutes left on the clock, this is where being in the zone truly helps. If the Chiefs didn't do this, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. I'm sure the Chiefs know when they are struggling and whatever play is coming from a place they can't describe. In the future, teams will realize this. Pat Riley, the head coach for the Chicago Bulls, taught his players the principles of Buddha. This is from an article in Tricycle magazine dated summer 1994. Through meditation practice and other techniques, he teaches players to experience the joy of being in the moment and to blend their individual talents with the consciousness of the group. As he puts it, being aware is more important than being smart. I completely agree with this statement. Have you ever seen birds flying in the sky and being in perfect sync with each other? There is no one leader. They all turn and move in perfect sync. Nature is aligned with the mysteries of life. The Lakers and Bulls had their moments years ago when they won titles this way. I would highly recommend the Chiefs to explore this. Somehow they stumbled into this. Can you imagine if they learned how to do this consciously? Just think, you could almost know what your opponent was going to do. The entire team moves and flows in the direction that is needed. Both the offense and defense moves in this manner. This is not science fiction. Nature does this all the time. Why don't we mimic nature? The Taoists have been doing this for over 4,000 years. We have been brought up in a society that is totally divorced from nature. We have lost our intuition and awareness in life. In the future, all teams will have to learn this in order to be competitive. The team that is unified and moves as one has the advantage. Even if you improve by just 1%, you have an advantage. I'm sure Coach Andy Reid would love that. Just an ounce of awareness goes a long way. Imagine if each and every moment the players could tap into this quantum field. The players' awareness would change overnight. This is just the beginning stage. Patterns. Football, like life, has many different kinds of patterns. Depending on what patterns the team plays is one aspect of winning the game. In life, we should play the same patterns or tapes day after day. We get up, brush our teeth, have breakfast, and drive to work in rush hour traffic. We work, drive home, have dinner, and then sleep. The next day, we repeat the cycle until the weekend. On the weekend, we have our own free time. On the football field, we practice and learn new plays. I call these patterns. We run each pattern until hopefully it goes into our subconscious. When a play occurs, he who hesitates is lost. You only have a fraction of a second before all hell lets loose. You had better be focused, or heavy consequences for you and your team will occur. Most of the battle in a football game occurs in your mind. When you're in the zone, you play the patterns perfectly. Everything is in sync. It seems like everything is in slow motion, yet in a few seconds, the play is over. When you're not in the zone, everything seems clumsy. Your timing is off, mistakes are made, there are no team unity. We have lost that state of awareness. I'm sure the coaches spend thousands of hours developing new plays. They see what works and what doesn't. Personally, along with that, the players need to learn how to live in the zone. You can have the greatest patterns in the world, yet if you're not in the zone, you will have difficulty accomplishing it. Look, I'm not saying the play won't get accomplished, but the inward state of mind will be agitated. When the mind is calm, this is where miracles happen. Look what happened when Patrick Mahomes was down in 3 different games. Opponents thought they had won the battle. Yet, with a clear mindset, the Chiefs came from behind and won the games. So we need great plays or patterns and the team to work as one to win the game. Imagine if just one person didn't do their job properly, the play wouldn't have worked, especially in professional football. The team has to operate as a single unit. Conscious chessboard. Football reminds me of a conscious chessboard. It reminds me of a scene out of a Harry Potter movie. Each teammate has a certain position on the board. The other team has players facing the other team. They have their own unique positions. The goal is for the offense to score points against the defense. The other side is trying to stop you. Mind you, some of these players weigh over 300 pounds. The quarterback only has a fraction of a second before a freight train comes barreling down on them. The coaches come up with the various configurations of their offense and defense. The other side does the same. It is quite an interesting affair. Just think, you may have the most incredible play design, yet if just one person is out of sync, the play won't work. There's constantly a battle going on. Each time the center snaps the ball, all hell lets loose. Personally, I think the more a team is in the zone, they have greater chances to win the game. I see when a team gets too cocky, they may lose the game. The San Francisco 49ers found this out the hard way. Members of the team posed for a photo in the end zone. They were trying to taunt the Chiefs and their fans. Well, within 6 minutes, the Chiefs won the game. You see, mental health is part of the game. Life will teach you a lesson when you get cocky. When your ego flares up like a peacock during the game, someday your pride and ego will come down on you. Remember, the opposite sides have memories of you being cocky. People say that anger can take a team to victory. I totally disagree. I say awareness is the key. When the Chiefs are in the zone, they could win any game. When they're out of touch of the zone, they have a tendency to lose. I think football is at the forefront, where they see in order to win, the mind must be in control. This is very crucial. When the mind is agitated, it's like a swarm of mosquitoes biting you. Imagine they are biting you, and 4 defensive players are barreling down on you. Imagine if the players learned how to be Zen monks while playing the game. They learned how to be in the zone and act as one. If a team did this, they would dominate the game. They could be unbeatable. Being in the zone allows the team to think and act wiser than their foes. It's almost like an invisible thread tying the team together. This thread is conscious and aware. Each teammate can communicate without words to each other. In other words, the team would be totally synced. I think this is what the coaches desperately want. Any edge helps to win the game. Personally, I think this will bring teams to a higher level. Pat Riley clearly demonstrated this over 30 years ago with the Bulls and Lakers. Maybe the mindset has changed and teams will be opened up to this. What have they got to lose? Unlimited possibilities. Did you know that the quantum field contains unlimited possibilities? Just think that there are plays that have never been conceived before. Your opponent would be dazzled by this play. They would know what to do or how to defend it. By tapping into the quantum field consciously, a new way of thinking and performing actions will occur. Our next chapter is football Aikido. Basically, football is a push-pull energy. Both sides try to dominate the other side. Whoever is dominant wins the play. Now, what happens if a team uses the opposing energy against them? Quite frankly, I don't think this has been done today. Yet, masters, Aikido artists do it all the time. The Taoists have been doing this for over 4,000 years. We will discuss this more in the next chapter. When coaches and players tap into the quantum field, great communication will take place. I'm talking about non-verbal communication, which comes from our subconscious mind and the quantum field. In this state, the fan, coaches, staff, and players enter a new state of oneness. Ask any player, and they will say that the fans chanting helped them in performing. They give such inspiration. Well, let's take it up a few levels. The more a team is conscious and aware, they will tap into unlimited possibilities. This includes on and off the football field. They will truly become wiser over time. They won't make the same mistakes on and off the field. With wisdom, a person learns how to grow up. They learn how to drop their negative baggage on and off the football field. Many players are incredible of what they do, but off the field, a disaster is waiting to happen. We see it all the time. man hitting their girlfriends or wives. This is a manifestation of a mind out of control. For thousands of years in the East, they have said the most difficult thing to control in the universe is your mind. How true is that? Yet in the West, it is almost totally out of control. Look, we recently had a trial with no evidence and witnesses were allowed. This is the first time in history. I'm not going to get into politics, but this is unprecedented. That goes totally against American views on the Constitution. Of course, people spin the truth and get away with it. But I'm saying a compassionate mind hardly exists today. Aware mind and conscious mind are desperately needed today. Football, like life, has its ups and downs. There are all so many characters. Some are incredible at what they do, yet they can't operate at a team level. Many of them get traded or dropped from the team. It seems to me that the teams that learn how to make each player flourish and give them the skills will be healthier in the end. A teammate who is totally out of control will ultimately affect the entire team. We are all in the same boat. I say this many times. You either sink or swim. Unlimited possibilities are out there. You just need to use your will and advance to the next level in the video game of life. Football, Aikido. What is football, Aikido? Good question. But first, what is Aikido? Here's the definition of Aikido. Aikido, Japanese Aikido, way of harmonizing energy, martial art, and self-defense system that resembles the fighting methods Jiu-Jitsu and Judo in its use of twisting and throwing techniques, and its aim of turning an attacker's strength and momentum against themselves. Pressure on vital nerve centers is also used. I have some friends that they have studied Aikido for many years. I learned some of the philosophy and practice from them. What I loved was the principle of turning an attacker's strength and momentum against himself. I thought about a football game that uses these same principles. Imagine a defense tries to rush in, and the offense uses the defense energy against them. These are the principles of Aikido. You use the opponent's force against them. Here's a short philosophy of Aikido. Aikido has but one principle, the universal reality of life, and their own nature as living human beings. All possess the basic secret of Aikido. The purpose of Aikido is to be better people's lives, to make their spirit blossom and become strong, and by making better people, make a better world. If you replace Aikido with the quantum field, you then have a modern-day word. This book was inspired when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I had a flash of inspiration and saw this book in written form. So far as I know, this has never been done in football before. Football has always been a clash of push-pull energy. He who has the greatest energy usually wins the game. It's usually brute force. What if we change the course of things? Imagine the defense is rushing in with full force. The offense takes that power and uses it against them. The defense falls to the ground and wonders what in the world happened. This happens over and over again. In the quantum field, if a person is aggressive, you can transmit that aggression back to that person. You don't have to accept it. Suppose somebody gets angry. Usually the other person will respond with anger back. This is what we do every day. It's quite kindergarten. The wise man won't say anything but smile. He has nothing to prove. The wise man has gotten over his ego and smiles at life. These same principles can be used on a football field. It's taking the quantum field and understanding these universal principles. In my eye, the team that has a higher understanding of these principles will be the team to beat. The Kansas City Chiefs many times throughout the season was in the zone. At times they were so far behind the opponents thought the game was over. Yet each time they came from behind and won the game. Imagine if they could take this to the next level. How about if they could consciously learn how to be in the zone? What would happen if they learned Aikido and used the opponent's force against them? That would bring them to a much higher level than they are today. Nutrition. When you think of a professional football player's meal, what do you think? Probably a huge piece of steak. This has been a standard for probably half a century. This has been the norm in the sports world. Yet some players and teams are thinking outside of the box. Take, for example, the Tennessee Titans. Here's an article I found. It was written by Ava Brown. Did the Patriots lose to a bunch of vegans? The New England Patriots last night to the Tennessee Titans in the first round of the playoffs, a team where the majority of the players have been on a plant-based diet for the past few seasons, and a team that swears by the diet to keep them in tip-top physical shape. The Titan players who are on the vegan diet said that's why they were able to make it to the playoffs for the first time in a decade back in 2018. Sounds crazy, I know, but is that the reason why the Patriots lost last night? In 2018, 11 players on the Titans went vegan. Last night, they beat 6-time Super Bowl champions because they outplayed them, out-hustled them, and maybe they had a better pre-game vegan meal. I learned about the Tennessee Titans and their plant-based diets from the Netflix documentary, The Game Changers. It's a documentary that showcase top athletes from across the world who are on a plant-based diets. The documentary also goes into the science of why athletes who are on a vegan diet are outperforming athletes who are not on a plant-based diet. In the document, they followed the Titans and how the vegan journey all started with the outside linebacker, Derek Morgan. He was the only one on the team not eating meat, but his wife is a chef. After games on Sunday, he would invite members of the team over to their house to eat a post-game meal.
At first, the teammates made fun of him for eating vegan, but then they tried it themselves, and they loved the way it tasted. After just a couple of weeks on the new plant-based diet, they were playing better than they ever had played before. It looked like they haven't turned back since. But let's take a look at TB12. Tom Brady eats an 80% vegan diet. That's easy to learn if you picked up his book, The TB12 Method. Most of his diet consists of organically grown fruits, vegetables, whole grains, meat, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Ding, ding, ding. That's a vegan diet. So, is this a lack of fruits and vegetables the reason why the New England Patriots aren't going to win a 7th Super Bowl? Brady is still the GOAT, but he can't do it alone. If I were the Patriots, I'd pick up the TB12 method and start reading it before next season rolls around. And I'll also take a few pages from the plant-based book of the Tennessee Titans. Disagree?
Meditation. You may wonder what meditation has to do with football. Isn't that an oxymoron? Yet meditation is the foundation for life. Behind your breath is the power that is keeping you alive. Here's a small list of its benefits. Helps reduce stress. The less stress you have, the more aware you will be. Increase concentration. A player will be more aware of the playing field. Move into a higher brainwave state. Most people's standards brainwave state is high beta. This means that cortisol is constantly being secreted in the body. They can't shut it off. Over time, this causes many different kinds of diseases. The disease occurs when the mind, body, and soul are not at ease. Better time can seem to move a bit slower. Can you imagine if you could respond just a fraction of a second ahead of your competitor? You would have an advantage. Imagine if the entire team could do this. Wow. Enter the zone, quantum field. The team that can enter the zone consciously will have a huge advantage. How did the Chiefs come from behind so many times during the playoffs? The opposing teams thought the game was over. Yet within minutes, the Chiefs came from behind and won the game. In a meditative state, one learns how to turn an attacker's strength and momentum against himself. Mind, body, and soul are in sync. Decrease chatter of the mind. Can you imagine playing a football game and the mind is like a swarm of mosquitoes? It is constantly biting you. Football games can be won or lost due to your state of mind. You are your own master chemist. Your body and state of mind is a reflection of what you think on and off the football field. Meditation is the door to rewire the hardware and software. Meditation teaches one to be cool, calm, and collective. Do a Google search for Jerry Lopez. During the early 70s, he learned about Zen. He
was an incredible surfer for his time. He surfed a spot called the Bonsai Pipe. At the time, it was the most dangerous wave known to man. Jerry was a Zen surfer who was cool, calm, and collected, surfing the most dangerous waves on Earth. The average person would die or get seriously injured if they tried to do what he did. Sidestep danger. Meditation helps you to sidestep danger. This can be used on and off the football field. Increased intuition. The team that has increased intuition will win the game. If you can sense what your opponent is going to do, you have a greater advantage. Football is so much more than just the physical aspect. The mind, body, and soul must be in sync. Anger and brainwaves. Did you know that you are your own chemist? Depending on your thoughts and emotions, over 1,600 different chemicals are released to the body. This has been known for thousands of years. For example, the Buddha said this many moons ago, when you are angry, you are drinking poison. It's so easy to get angry. Just turn on the news. So many people are living in high beta states that the cortisol levels are constantly being released. This means the human body is in a fight or flight response. Usually, this only happens when danger is all around. Yet in our society today, we have so much stress that this is a common state of mind. I can imagine that each football play contains a high beta state of mind. What do? So we carry that anger from the football field to our everyday life. Is this a normal state of mind? Did you know in the fight or flight response, the body can't heal itself? It shuts down the immune system and all energy is focused on saving your life. Yet for most people, the danger isn't real. In the power of your mind and emotions, you create your own high beta state of mind. Just think, we play the same tapes over and over again. Our subconscious is in control around 95% of our actions, while only 5% is conscious. Most of humanity is driven from the past. We are reactive beings. Look, we were never taught this in school. In the past 25 years or so, scientists are studying how to reprogram the subconscious. They're learning how to change the hardware and internal software. People are learning how to rewire People are learning how to rewire the neural networks in our brains. When a man begins to do so, he advances to the next level in the video game called life. Most of humanity stays at the same level. They never advance. We act and respond to each and every event in life. It's automatic. It's part of our habits and personality. A proactive being is one who lives in the center of the hurricane. The hurricane-force winds of the mind are present, while one is perfectly calm. Look at Jerry Lopez. He took off on the most dangerous waves at that time at the Banzai Pipeline. He was cool, calm, and collected. He surfed in a Zen state of mind. Scientists have been using instruments that measure the various brainwave states for around 30 years. They're getting quite sophisticated. Take, for example, Joe Dispenza. He travels all around the world and has a group of scientists that travel with him. He teaches people to enter the Zen state of mind, or known as the quantum field. Each participant is wearing a device that records the different brain waves. He is training his students with training wheels so they can learn how to do this in their everyday life. I see the world of mystics and scientists are merging. Both are talking about the same thing. Exciting times is ahead of us.
Sleep. Many people think that sleep is a waste of time. If you are a professional football player, your sleep is worth more than all the gold in the world. Some elite athletes are getting 12 hours sleep. They're taking an hour and a half during the day. By doing so, they have a huge advantage over their competitors. You see, during sleep, your body is repairing itself. A football player places a huge demand on the body. Personally, I can't even imagine in just one game the kind of trauma that occurs. Each play is super intense. Proper sleep is the way for the body to recover, heal, and overcome any injuries. I would imagine many young players who love to party well into the night. They wake up in the morning with a hangover. They struggle to get out of bed. Maybe it's game day. Their body and mind are already off center. They are not 100% ready for the game. What happens if half the team does this? Good luck on the playing field. Now imagine the entire team gets plenty of sleep. They take an afternoon nap. The body and mind is rested. The team will do much better on and off the field. When the body and mind are rested and at ease, it functions more efficiently. One becomes more conscious and aware. A person's intuition is more enhanced. Personally, I think the team that has a higher sense of intuition will win the game. A team that goes into the zone when all odds are against them can win the game. The Chiefs proved this during the playoffs. Football players are like warriors. They had better be in tip-top condition during the game. The mind and body must be in sync. My personal advice when the game is over: don't go out and party. Go home and get some precious sleep. Party during the daylight hours. Limit your alcohol. That's another subject. Remember, you are paid millions of dollars. Your playing years are extremely limited. Your risk for head injuries is probably higher than any professional. This, unfortunately, is a huge issue for a player that affects you for the rest of your life. You're young and have a youthful spirit. Learn from the older players who retire. They have great knowledge and lessons to give to you. Remember, you are a drop in the bucket. There's always someone who would love to take your place. I'm just saying, take care of your own interests. You know
that only you, can change for the better. Proper sleep is the key to your success. I'm sure many of you will probably roll your eyes and have a smirk on your face. Yet the next time you are struggling on the field, just remember this advice. Science and the art of football are being aligned. The lifestyle days of the 60s and 70s are over. The game is more intense. Players are bigger and heavier. As you know, they can cause huge damage. Apply some practical sense. Learn how to take advantage of it. Just a 1% advantage can win the game. Cold water there. To be honest, I have no idea how the body would feel after playing a football game. So much trauma on the human body. People get injured all the time. I'm hoping that the teams are taking a cold shower, baths, or body. Written note there. Cold is your friend at this moment in time. Your body's extremely inflamed. This is probably 100 times more than the average person. Most players might party the night away and have a few drinks to unwind. I know that common sense is uncommon. Your coaches train you all week long for the big game. I hope you are learning what to do after the game. Your body needs to recalibrate itself. It needs to rebalance itself. If you don't, all the stress is still active in your body and mind. You will not recover properly. Your body will hold on to this, and after each game, your stress will increase. Consequently, your body will decide for you to take early retirement. Look, your body will never be the same after being a professional football player. Nobody gets a free ride. So gather wisdom and information while you can. Cold is your best friend after your workouts and playing a game. It will help stop inflammation. Inflammation will occur. Cold water will help stop it to go further. In the last 10 years, scientists have been studying the effects of cold water therapy with professional athletes. Wim Hof is known worldwide as an expert in this field. He holds numerous world records dealing with the cold. For example, he climbed Mount Everest in his shorts. For Wim, cold is his friend. Even if you take a 5-minute cold shower after a game, your body will respond. It's like pressing a reset button in the body. This is preventative medicine at its finest. Hopefully, your team doctors are teaching you this. You need all your preventative tips at your disposal. So much is riding on the line. You are treading water. You are walking on a fine-edged sword. You must be wise.
Injuries. Injuries are a common occurrence in football. Most players will get some sort of injury during the playing season. I'm thinking out loud here. In my eyes, many injuries could be prevented if we could use the opponent's attack of energy and reverse it. Imagine the force would go back towards the opponent. Consequently, the body wouldn't absorb the shock. Heavy trauma wouldn't occur. In my chapter on football, Aikido, I explain this. My next chapter is on Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga will help heal and prevent injuries from happening. Many injuries occur when the muscles are extremely tense. The day-to-day workouts, the gain during the week, all contribute to the body and mind being stressed out. Also, when the mind and body is not in the zone, injuries will occur much more frequently. In his state of mind, the player is struggling. When you struggle, mistakes will happen. Look at the times you got injured. Were you in the zone, or were you trying to find the zone? Look, I'm not saying that if you're in the zone, you won't get injured. What I'm saying, by being in the zone, you are conscious and aware. You can see clearly in just a fraction of a second where you should go. Patrick Mahomes is a prime example of this. When he was in the zone and his teammates were unstoppable. Here's a list of tools that help prevent injuries. Body and mind totally relax. Body can receive trauma and release it. Learn how to consciously to be in the zone. Use the opponent's force against them. Get plenty of sleep. Daily cold water therapy. Meditation. Release emotional baggage. Hatha yoga practice. Qigong practice. Nutrition. Learn the latest Seago and Vega chapter. Proper weight training. Let the body totally relax. It takes around a week to fully recover. Hatha Yoga. I'm sure that many football players roll their eyes when you mention the word yoga. It has the connotation of some wrestle position. Yet, I have a few questions to ask. How flexible are you? Did you know many injuries occur when the body is not flexible enough? How is your balance? In less than a second, your opponent can knock you off balance. Can you recover in time? Are you aware of the mind-body connection? If not, you're more likely to get injured. Do you mostly breathe through your mouth or nose? Did you know that in India, breathing through your mouth is called the breath of death? John Dilliard has been at the forefront of this since the 80s. Many professional athletes have used his system. It includes proper yoga and breathing. Another reason to embrace proper nasal breathing, it can enhance your workout. This is what John has to say. To experience the zone in training is our birthright and is within the design of our human nervous system to access it. To push ourselves to exhaustion when we have the capability to allow effortless, perfect performance to flow naturally from the inside out seems somewhat primitive and a waste of time. I have never heard of a peak experience that was described as painful, grueling, or exhausting. Rather, the descriptions have always fit the original definition of exercise: regenerating, stress relieving, and accessing full human potential. Personally, the concept of no gain, no pain, no gain is obsolete. Here's an article about Alexander Popov. On the final night of competition in the 2003 World Aquatics Championships in Barcelona, Alex Popov mounted the block for what would be his final major championship swing. When the 30-year-old Russian sprinter had already done it all in the sports. He won back-to-back Olympic gold medals in the 50 and 100-meter freestyle in 1992 and 1996. The only swimmer to accomplish the feat. He broke the world's records in both events while repeatedly swatting away up-and-comers to the sprint events for well over a decade. When Popov dove in on July 26, 2003, and exploded to the surface on his way to gold in the 50-meter freestyle, he did so with his trademark precision and grace. Champion swimmers make the sport look easy, and Popov somehow made it look even easier. He just took 31 strokes in a brief no cap and from an old school start to smash the world record in the 50mm freestyle in 2000 in a time of 21:64. Popov's efficiency was developed with a relentless focus on technique and training. Under the watchful eye of his longtime coach, Gennady Tartarsky, Popov would regularly swim 5,000 meters straight freestyle. Tartarsky avoided doing drills in practice, placing an emphasis on swimming slow, but with excellent form and target stroke weights at all times. Popov's stroke didn't change from training to competition. The same effortless-looking technique he used on race day was the same balanced, high elbow catch that he brought to practice every day. There was no distinction. There wasn't practice swimming or competitive swimming. There was only one stroke. The effects of all these meters with perfect technique and practice was that by the time Popov got up on the block, he didn't need to think about what he wanted to do. He didn't need to worry about his stroke collapsing or choking or planning how he wanted to feel in the water. It was just a matter of diving into the water and let his body do what he had done a million times in training. Popov's habitual technical excellence was such that he could regularly swim at world record settings pace in training. Literally, story goes that a pre-Olympic training camp in Colorado Springs, Popov got up on the blocks for a surprise get-up 50-meter effort. The coaches in attendance, including USC's David Solm, who later talked about the occurrence, clocked Popov at a stopwatch at a time that was 0.10 seconds below the existing world record. Popov trained the way he raced, and he raced the way he trained. How many swimmers can do the same? Qigong. The Taoists were great mystics and scientists of their times. They understood there's a central force in the universe, which they called the Tao. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The name is the mother of 10,000 things. Qigong has been around for about 4,000 years. They have many different forms, yet the essence is the same. They weren't divorced from nature. As a matter of fact, they became one with nature. In the West, most people are totally divorced from nature. You think all indigenous people are primitive. Their whole society is based upon a relationship with nature. Nature is their home. We don't have this concept in the West. I say a lot that signpost is all around us, yet we don't have the eyes to see. Take, for example, this human body. We take it totally for granted. On average, a person at rest takes about 16 breaths per minute. This means we breathe about 960 breaths an hour, 23,040 breaths a day, and 8,409,600,000 a year. A person who lives to 80 will take about 672,768 breaths in a lifetime. Now imagine that the majority of mankind never is truly conscious of their breath. Behind your breath are the power that is keeping you alive and the universe alive. Yet, we are oblivious to it. Different cultures have different names for this. In India, it's called prana, life force energy. In China, it's called qi. Modern-day scientists calls it the quantum field. The Taoists understood how to balance the human body. They knew how to balance the mind, body, and soul. Qigong was a formal exercise to learn how to cultivate qi. The Taoists were extremely familiar with the entire human body. Today, modern-day scientists are starting to discover what the ancients knew thousands of years ago. In the 80s, the book The Body Electric, Electromagnetism, and the Foundation of Life by Robert Becker came out. It was revolutionary for its time. It talked about how energy affects the human body. Personally, I think Qigong is a precious tool that helps an individual to discover the essence of who we are. Imagine there's a quantum field that exists everywhere. It is beyond time and space. Qigong, over time, brings one awareness and consciousness to expand. It looks so simple. It is. Breathing is so simple. Then when I say that by focusing on your breath, one can experience the power that is keeping you alive. Most people roll their eyes. I could go on for hours, yet our time is limited. For the football players out there, how would you like to be in the zone more often? Meditation and Qigong work together to bring you to the zone. The zone is your natural state. We have simply forgotten. Many tools are out there. You must learn how to think outside of your box. Your beliefs and conditions are holding you back to understand your true nature.
David the Dragon. Hi, I'm David the Dragon. I'm best of friends with Little Ricky. You read about me in the story. I'm over 5,000 years old. I'm still young at heart. You see, I take care of myself. Where I come from, the British Isles, the dragons really didn't have any common sense. You could say common sense is uncommon. Where I come from, the dragons didn't exercise or eat good foods. They partied all throughout the night. To be frank, they didn't have a clue about universal laws. They were only interested in acquiring stolen treasure and fighting. Boy, what kind of existence is that? When we flew from the west to the east, our entire lifestyle changed for the better. We started to take a look at how to make a better life for the dragons. As you see, only young dragons came with us. The rest were stuck in their old ways. Quite frankly, they had no desire to change. They liked misery. Well, we decided to have a grand adventure. We learned how to meditate in Zorak, and the rest is history. We learned very young that life is an external and internal adventure. Bet you nobody told you that. We came to a point where we could see energy all around us and in us, that there was a block over time. Disease would take place. You see, in the bodies of humans and dragons lie a vast number of rivers and streams. In a healthy body, these rivers and streams are flowing properly. But the more ones have a life out of balance, these rivers and streams get clogged up and don't flow properly. The water over time becomes stagnant and mosquitoes can fester. This is where disease manifests. Here's an example of anger. When a person is always angry, this blocks the rivers and streams inside the body. Over time, the body becomes angry and can fight against itself. You call this cancer. Cancer is angry cells. We discovered a long time ago that by using needles at a certain point on the body, we can begin to block the rivers and streams. Yet the acupuncturist can help to unblock these dams. Yet it's up to you to change, modify, and learn how to be healthy. In the West, you go to a doctor and take the medicine. Your symptoms go away. Your drugs have side effects. The patient takes no responsibility. No wonder your system is messed up. A wise person begins to listen within and change accordingly. This person realizes that proper rest is the key. In the West, sleep and rest is sort of a nuisance. They don't have the understanding of how important it is. In order for the body to heal and repair, it needs rest. Period. We live such a fast pace, we have forgotten why we need sleep and rest in the first place. The acupuncture during this time had an easy job. He knew how to break the dam and let the waters flow properly. He might give some healing herbs to the child. The child understood completely that the acupuncturist could only assist so far in the process. She knew that it was up to her to follow through and live day by day the natural laws of life. You see, Their culture was understanding and practicing every moment these natural laws. Unfortunately, in our world, today's man has lost touch with his true nature. Consequently, disease is quite common. Our herbs that are given out are organic and have no side effects. They're extremely beneficial in helping the body to balance. Your Western medicine has extreme side effects and can cause death. Listen to the commercials today and you will hear a lovely voice telling all the side effects that drugs have. They are concerned to make a profit. That is the bottom line. No, kids, listen to this story. Only your generation can change this wacky system. You can look at different and natural ways. You can see chemicals are the least effective ways for healing. Their scientists know about energy, but at the present moment, only a few doctors are researching about the power of energy. This is where acupuncture comes in. In the future, there will be myriads of different discoveries and inventions. The more a society becomes more aware, the more the discoveries can occur. You see, only in an open society can change occur for the better. These new discoveries can be used for good, or they can be a complete disaster. The nuclear bomb is a prime example. The genie got loose, and now the world is trying to find out how to rein in the genie. You see, your world has a lot to learn. Imagine most of the world is looking externally, but the jewel lies within. You need a balance between the external and internal. Millions of people are waking up to this fact. At a certain point in time, when humanity truly understands this, your inventions will be so-called a miracle in life. In fact, they aren't miracles in life, but your understanding is at a different level. Your cell phone would be considered a gift from God 500 years ago. I bet each one of you kids knows how to operate one. You have no problems with that. In the same way, the more you understand the laws of the universe, more incredible inventions will come your way. Nature wants to give her incredible gifts, but you have to be in sync to receive them. Anger, war, and greed will never be the way to discover these gifts. For thousands of years, war is not the answer. It has never solved anything and never will. Only the kids can truly change for the better. Hopefully, you will listen to this story and remember your generation can change for the better. The seeds have been planted many millions of years ago. You can be the fruit that can change this world. Remember, you are never alone. Someday you will realize this. You will see that all of humanity and the dragons are in the same boat together. You are the universe. You just don't know it.
monitoring your thoughts and emotions. As you know, by now we live 95% from the subconscious and 5% from the conscious mind. Most human beings never stop to see the correlation between the mind and body. Many scientists say they are one and the same. They are not distinct and different. Imagine someone pisses you off. That thought creates a chemical in your brain. Cortisol gets released. Stress hormones gets released. Over 1900 chemicals gets released. You are now in an emotional state of anger. This anger gets stored in your body. Many scientists say that cancer is created by angry cells. Most of the time, we have automatic tapes from the past in any given situation. Because we are reactive beings, we are like leaves blowing in the wind. We never stop and think before we perform an action. Many people Twitter without thinking. So the goal is to rewire our circuits. When someone makes us angry, stop in your tracks. Focus on your breath. Imagine an infinite field of peace surrounding you. By the way, it does 24 hours a day. This is your true nature. Smile and don't say a thing. When you have your composure back, speak from kindness. Mind you, this is extremely difficult to do. Here's some advice for you on this journey. Write down all the areas that have caused great trauma in your life. Many times, the great trauma never gets processed properly. It is stored in our subconscious. The greater the trauma, the greater the emotional impact. Unfortunately, so many people hold on to the past. An event may happen over 30 years ago, and we still hold on for dear life. We still hold a grudge and are angry towards that one person. We need to learn and forgive. We need to let go of that emotion. In the last 30 years, much insight has been in the relationship between the mind and body. There are many different techniques out there to heal and release our emotional scars. Here's one I like. Emotional freedom technique. It's a self-help technique that involves tapping near the endpoints of energy meridians located around the body. EFT works by lowering cortisol levels and the body's stress response because it helps to promote relaxation. Imagine you have some anger issue. The first step is to identify the issue. In order for this to work, you need to identify the issue. Makes sense? Step 2. From a scale of lowest 1 to highest 10, what is the intensity? What is the intensity of your emotional or physical pain? Step 3. In this state, one acknowledges the issue and accepting yourself despite the problem. We're going to use anger as our problem. The common setup phrase is, even though I have this problem, I deeply and completely accept myself. The common setup phrase is, even though I have this anger issue, I deeply and completely accept myself. Step 4. This is the tapping phrase. Begin by tapping the karate chop point while simultaneously reciting your setup phrase. You may do this for around 30 seconds to 1 minute. Concentrate on your breath as you do this. The calmer you get, the better results you will have. Karate chop, small intestine meridian. Now, for each one of these meridian points, use a reminder phrase. Suppose you have an anger issue. You would then recite in your mind anger while tapping at these points below. Tap for around 30 seconds at each meridian point. At the eyebrow, bladder meridian. Side of the eye, gallbladder meridian. Under the eye, stomach meridian. Under the nose, governing vessel. Chin, central vessel. Beginning of the collarbone, kidney meridian. Under the arm, spleen meridian. Top of head, governing vessel. When you finish, rate an intensity level. Say that your initial rate was a 9. You rate it now at a 5. Repeat this process until you reach the 0. Mind you, some problems will take time to reach a 0. The greater you take responsibility for your thoughts and actions, the greater results you will have. To find all these meridian points, do a Google search for tapping, and you should be able to see exactly where these points are. Alright, well, that's it. Thank you. Mind movies. The definition of a guru is one who takes you from darkness into the light. A rugu is one who takes you from light into darkness. If there is a rugu today, it is the medical commercials on TV. There is a time when they didn't allow drug commercials on TV. That's a long time ago. I won't call it sinister. Okay, I will. The commercial industry has been very effective to program the subconscious. They have used the medium of TV to program your mind and body. They are extremely clever, know exactly what they are doing. In the 50s, when a movie was being showed, subliminal messages would be displayed on the screen, such as buy popcorn or buy a Coke. It would appear so fast your conscious mind wouldn't see it, but your subconscious mind would. This is bad when the FCC figured that out. Well, they have gotten quite sophisticated. Today's drug commercials directly go into your subconscious mind. Imagine some of these same commercials are played over and over again in the evening news. They're slowly brainwashing people without the audience even knowing it. Have you ever wondered why America is so messed up? I could go on for hours. Many of these drug commercials are directly programming you to get sick so you can take their drugs. It is insidious and evil, yet it is done in such a soft voice, and nature is all around it. It's sad. They know exactly what they are doing. As a capitalist society, they are there solely to make a buck. They want you to get sick. They don't want you to be healthy and take responsibility for your well-being. There is a company called Mind Movies who uses the same technology as the drug commercials, yet it's used to bring you from darkness to light. Check out mindmovies.com. Dr. Joe Dispenza made a mind movie for connecting to the quantum field. It is absolutely genius. I highly recommend it. It should be played before going to bed and upon waking up. I play it right before I close my eyes to meditate. The more you play it over time, the mind, body, and soul rejoices in the words. There are words and pictures displayed. Both of them work to put the message into your subconscious. As you know, we need to rewire ourselves. Humanity is living in darkness and needs to embrace the light. Mind movies are a way to program the subconscious in order to help discover our true nature. Closing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this book. It's definitely outside the box. All these technologies exist today. At times, we only use what's inside our little box. We think that's all there is. That's a very limited viewpoint. Life is a series of learning and growth. We can't get stagnant. Just look at a pond with no new water coming in. The pond gets quite stagnant. This book teaches you how to swim in the ocean of life. Be like a surfer and ride the mighty waves. Even if you just took one or two basic principles, you will go a long way. It's okay to roll your eyes. During Galileo's time, he was put in house arrest for saying the planets revolve around the sun, not the earth. Fortunately, they didn't kill him, but he spent the majority of his life in house arrest. I probably would have been put in prison if I said these things during Galileo's time. These tools will help you on and off the football field. They can totally transform your life if you use them. Otherwise, they will just stay in the closet of your mind.